3.
Hello everyone. This is good evening. This is Dr. Trupti Rasal, handling post of Secretary of Women's Wings of the Global Association of Physiotherapy. Today we are going to have a webinar on total knee replacement, which will carried by the Dr. Pranoti Kangutkar. Dr. Pranoti is serving the president post of Women's Wings for the Maharashtra of Global Association of Physiotherapy. I would like to mention here our organization committee, Dr. Seeta Singh, who is the president of the National GAPT, then Dr. Akanksha, vice president of National GAPT, Dr. Dimple Modi, vice president of Maharashtra Women's Wings, Dr. Priyanka Patole, general secretary of Maharashtra Women's Wings, and Dr. Mugdha Shripat, who is joint secretary of Women's Wings Maharashtra. So now I would like to welcome Dr. Pranoti to guide us on today's topic of total knee replacement.
Good evening to everyone. Dr. Trupti, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. Good evening to everyone. I am Dr. Pranoti Kangutkar. I am a physiotherapist by profession and currently practicing in Mumbai. I am also the president for the Women's Wing for the Global Association of Physiotherapy. And today I will be having a webinar on total knee replacement related to its basics of total knee replacement and physiotherapy management. So let's go ahead. So what actually happens in a total knee replacement is we all know that the basic function of knee joint is flexion and extension. And when long time this flexion and extension takes place, the femoral condyle, the patella, and the tibial condyle undergoes destruction, which at the end destroys the cartilage, even the end of the femur and the upper end of the tibia and the menisci. As you can see in the video, when a patient goes for a TKR, this this level gets cut off and is being replaced by the femoral component, tibial component, and the patellar component. So when a surgeon replaces the components, the areas with such components, together this procedure is termed as total knee replacement. This is an X-ray of the same. So by definition, total knee replacement is replacement of the articular surfaces of the knee joints, that is the femoral condyles and the tibial plateau, but with femoral and tibial components and highly cross-linked polysinized plastic. So as you can see in the image, this is the lateral epicondyle and this is the medial epicondyle. Okay, this is the distal end of the femur and this is the this is the proximal end of the tibia. When due to some of the other pathologies, when this area gets damaged or can get uh, can have some issues with the joint or due to long time weight bearing, this area leads to damage. And when a patient approaches the surgeon asks for a total knee replacement. So when a total knee replacement is done, as you can see in the image, here in the right side or in the left side image, you can see the destructed area, the damaged area is being replaced by a femoral component, a plastic spacer, and a tibial component. This together is termed as total knee replacement. So this is another image of the components, the femoral component, the tibial component, and the polyethylene articulating surface, which is joint look component.
Dr.
So what
Pranoti,
happens
your
when
VC,
so we'll check for the indicator of PK. Is my slide available?
Actually, from the components, your voice is breaking, and we are directly on the indications of the TKR. Your voice was breaking from the slide
Why?
of the component. You was explaining the component of the TKR.
Okay, fine. I'll go back to the slide.
Yeah, yeah, this one.
So this is
Hmm.
the another image of components where a femoral, where is on the left hand side you can see a knee femoral component, a tibial plateau, and a polyethylene articulate surface. This polyethylene articulate surface is basically mimicking a menisci, the lateral and the major menisci. On the right hand side, you can see how a knee joint looks when they are replaced with the component. Okay. So now coming to the indications of TKR, like when does a patient approaches a surgeon or a doctor, either the articular cartilage is disrupted or damaged due to some pathologies like the osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, or some post-traumatic arthritis. This basically is diagnosed when a patient undergoes an MRI or an X-ray. There will be restrictions on the range of movement when a patient will not be able to move his or her knee joint according to the complete range of motion, then or may have some severe pain, then he can approach a surgeon and the surgeon may advise him or her for a total knee replacement. As we said, if there is severe joint pain in weight bearing position, and if there is a presence of deformity like genu varum or vulgum. So genu varum is when there is space between the knees, like there will be a knock knee. Sorry, there will be bow knees. And in genu valgum, the knees will be in a knock knee position. So in such a condition also, a surgeon can ask the patient to have a total knee replacement. Now, before proceeding to the types of knee replacement, I would like you all to tell what the kind of surgery a patient undergoes in a total knee replacement. What basically happens is, what basically happens is the surgeon will make an incision of around 8 inches and will make such a proper incision that he will be exposed to the tibial plateau and the femoral condyle. He will be removing the ACL ligaments, the anticruciate ligament, and will be cutting off the femoral condyle and the tibial plateau, and also will be removing if there is any menisci is remaining over in that area. He'll be removing the femoral condyle, the tibial plateau, and the menisci, and he will be replacing it with he will replacing it with the femoral component, the tibial component, and the plastic, which we called as the polymethyl articulating surface. So what happens when this polyethylene, wait, I'll just go back to the slide. Yeah. So if you all can see, this is it's a polyethylene articulating surface. In this polyethylene, when this surface is inserted, what happens is the femoral component doesn't directly comes in contact with the tibial component. The femoral component will slide on the articulate on this articulating surfaces and won't produce much weight on the tibial plateau. Like it won't like it the movement will be from the femoral component to the plastic surface and from the plastic surface to the tibial. So it won't be like a metal to metal articulation. Okay. So that was a small overview of the surgery. Now there will be types of knee replacement procedure. In that, there are three types of knee replacement: cemented, non-cemented, and hybrid fixation procedure. What happens in a cemented one is when a cement in a in a cemented procedure, a femoral component and the tibial component is fixed to that joint by a cement-like substance called as polymethyl methacrylate. Okay, the femoral component and the tibial component is attached to the bone with the help of a cement called as polymethyl and methyl and methacrylate. In a non-cemented one, the femoral all the three components are completely relied upon. There's no depending if the will leave the components on the with the bone. He won't be using any extra
Doctor
cement for that. And this type of if a
Dr.
patient is
Anoti,
undergoing this kind of procedure, he is instructed to go for a toe touch weight bearing. Sorry, yeah, Dr. Trupti, you
your
just
voice,
said something.
yeah, your voice was breaking, so I was just telling you.
Okay. So in non-cemented one, I'll explain it again. In a non-cemented one,
Mm.
the bone is the components are attached to the bone, but not using cement. They are totally dependent on the bone growth. Okay, the surgeon doesn't use any kind of cement which he was using in the cemented procedure. And in this kind of procedure, a toe touch, if an individual uh, undergoes such a procedure, he's asked for a toe touch weight bearing, not a full weight bearing, which is usually done in cemented procedure. And the other third one is hybrid. Hybrid is like it is a mixture of both cemented and a non-cemented. It is in a femoral component. The femoral component, the femoral component will be non-cemented, while the tibial component will be cemented. Okay, so it is like the femoral component is relied upon the bone growth, while the tibial component is while to attach the tibial component, cement which we saw in the cemented one is used. The polymethyl methacrylate cement which we saw is used for the tibial component, while the femoral component is dependent on the bone growth. Okay, so now coming to the very important thing is physiotherapy. Now physiotherapy will be divided into three phases. Phase one is from the day one of operation to the second to third week post-operative. Now, the main aim during phase one for a physiotherapist is we'll just imagine a patient who has just undergone a total knee replacement, has approached you and has came home. Okay, so when a patient is discharged from the hospital, the first thing which is done before a discharge is to make the patient stand, which is done at the hospital itself. They also make the patient have a stair climbing. Okay, so these things are mostly done at the hospital and then they are discharged. So when you meet the patient at their place for the first time, they have already done with their basic exercises. They have already had their stair climbing. They have already had full weight bearing standing position. So what you are supposed to do is in phase one, the very important thing in phase one is to take knee flexion, active or passive. To take the knee flexion and active or passive to 90 degrees. Knee extension will be complete, it will be full, but knee flexion has to be into 90 degrees. And the second important thing is to minimal the pain and swelling. Achieve full weight bearing will be already done at the hospital. So yeah, you have to proceed with it. But the main important thing in phase one is to achieve knee flexion to 90 degrees. Going beyond 90 degrees is not as such practice because you have to take care of the incision, you have to take care of the suture, you have to take care of the tissue healing. So 90 degrees of flexion is the main aim in phase one. Now coming to the pain part, mostly medications are being given to the patient in the hospitals itself. They have been advised for painkillers and everything. A physiotherapist is not allowed to get into medication. But still, to reduce the pain, you can ask for cryotherapy. Okay, cryotherapy is basically you can go for icing. You can ask the patients to apply ice packs after the exercises. And also the very important thing is never inform the patient that they should never take a pillow below their knees, as this can lead to fractures. Yeah, Dr. Trupti, all good? Still yes.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, all good.
Okay. So now we are be coming to phase two. Phase two is now you have done all the you have made the patient knee flexion to 90 degrees. You have achieved the minimal pain thing also. Now you have came to the fourth week, that is the phase two. Now the important thing in phase two is to achieve a good quadriceps strength. There should be no quadriceps flat and the knee flexion should reach to 105 degrees. The tissue healing will be in progress, but still 105 degrees of flexion has to be achieved in phase two. And if there is any pain or swelling in that duration, you can go for cryotherapy. Now you have reached to knee flexion, that is reaching to 105 degree. You have reached to phase 3. In phase 3, the two important things which are supposed to do is to strengthen the lower limb muscles. Okay, your patient is now doing the proper basic exercises. He's walking with your walker. He's having stair climbing and everything. Now is the high time that you transfer the patient from the walker to a tripod or to a stick. So strengthening of the lower limb muscles are very important for this. And with strengthening, the patient can also start with the balance exercises. You can also make the patient perform balance exercises, provided the lower limb muscles have a good strength, and also the patient is confident enough that he can perform the balance exercises. Balance exercises can be like walking on the uneven surfaces, step up, step down, or standing on one leg. So this kind of balance exercises can be performed. Now coming for to the exercise protocol for phase 1 and phase 2. Basic exercises will be first you'll start with the ankle plantar flexion and dorsiflexion. Then you'll be going for the quadriceps standing using a pillow or a towel roll below towel behind the knee joint. We basically call this as the isometrics of glutes, hamstrings, and quadriceps. Okay. Then we'll be having the knee and hip flexion extension. These exercises are for phase 1 and phase 2. Okay. Later on, carry on to straight leg rest, isometric buttock contractions, hip abduction and adduction, and bridging. Bridging can be quite tricky sometimes, but still, if the patient is comfortable enough, you can go for bridging. Bridging is mostly done by knees in bending, and then you ask your patient to lift their weight. Gradually, you start with walking aids, and later on can progress it with a tripod and staircase standing. Okay. So again, we'll just go towards the exercise protocol. Ankle plantar flexion and dorsiflexion, quadriceps strengthening with using a pillow behind the knee, isometrics of glutes, hams, and quads, hip and knee flexion extension. As I told you, in phase 1, knee flexion should reach 90 degree. In phase 2, it should reach 105 degree. Straight leg rest, isometric buttock contractions, hip abduction and adduction, and breathing. Side SLRs can also be performed. And then you should gradually go to walking with walking aids and staircase climbing. This should happen in phase 1. Now coming to phase 3 protocol. Phase 3 protocol will be exercises from phase 1 and phase 2 has to be continued. The way we started with ankle dorsiflexion and plantar flexion, till walking and stair climbing will be there, no wonder. But then you are supposed to add strengthening of the lower limb muscles to it and balance exercises. Okay. Now, as I told you before, balance exercises can be walking on the uneven surfaces. It can be up and down, step up and down. It can be on one or standing on one leg, according to the patient and your comfort. And strengthening of the lower limbs can be carried on using the weight cuff and later on TheraBands. Weight cuffs you try with the patient. Initially, they might feel bit of pain here and there, but once they are comfortable with it, you can carry on. Now, coming to the very important thing is complications. These are some complications which are most of the time the TKR patient might undergo is a nerve damage. Nerve damage is not very common, but yeah, there are cases that suffer from nerve damage after a total knee replacement. Bone fracture. Bone fracture can be due to the patient had a fall or something, or the patient had an accident while going to the hospital, while coming back from the hospital, anything. A bone fracture can occur, even if the patient is having is osteoarthritic history, has an history of osteoarthritis, and the bones are too fragile, still they can have a bone fracture. There is persistent of chronic pain. Patients mostly with history of diabetes have this kind of persistent and chronic pain, and if there is increased fall risk. Increased fall risk is when a patient is not what do you say, is not mentally that strong to carry on with the knee replacement or is very much scared of the pain. Sometimes it occurs that patient is not mentally prepared to walk and then there are risks of falling. Last is the deep vein thrombosis, but deep vein thrombosis is not that common. It's not that much seen in patients, but yeah, it can be seen in 4 to 5% of cases. So these are the complications of TKR: nerve damage, bone fracture, persistent or chronic pain, increased fall risk, and deep vein thrombosis. Stiffness. Stiffness and pain. Stiffness and pain is the most common for complication. Not complication actually, it is the most common complaint which approximately affects 6 to 8% of patients undergoing surgery. Stiffness is basically you will be stiffness will be basically seen in patients in female patients who are extremely obese because they won't when a physiotherapist leaves they won't have their exercises or either they won't try to attempt walking things or staircase climbing when the physiotherapist is not there. So long term of knee extension can also lead to stiffness. So stiffness is one of the most common complaints. So yeah, this thing is already taken from Kisner and some online references. The video which you saw initially is taken from Nucleus Media. You can check it out from YouTube. And that's all for TKR, total knee replacement. The same thing will be uploaded on YouTube on the TAPT channel. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Dr. Trupti
Okay,
Rasal.
so yeah, thank you. So this was a today's webinar. I hope you all have all the sort out your queries and questions by the Dr. Pranoti. And thank you very much for the attending our webinar. Thank you very much.